I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. One person is dead after a series of crashes Monday morning that forced the closure of lanes on both sides of I-95 through Flagler County. John Arking reports.
Florida Highway Patrol said the first crash occurred just before 6 a.m. near Palm Coast Parkway. A trauma alert was declared and a patient was transported to Halifax Medical Center, while I-95 southbound was completely shut down. 15 minutes later, another crash was reported when the driver of a semi-truck with two trailers traveling south failed to stop and hit another semi stopped in traffic from the first wreck. The semi with two trailers caught fire, killing its driver. A third crash happened about an hour and a half later, about 5 miles down the road. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley.
We had to use a helicopter to try to find one of the victims that apparently had been ejected, and we did, and they were transported to the hospital.
Staley cautioned drivers to pay extra attention to the roadways over the next few days, which are expected to see rain from the tropical storm making its way up the Gulf. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
This portion of WNZF Local News, a service of the Daytona Beach International Airport. Fly to the Big Apple in a New York minute on JetBlue from the Daytona Beach International Airport.
2 construction workers are killed after they were electrocuted on the job. Tony Magoo has the details.
The Flagler County Sheriff's Office had a rough day yesterday with more than half a dozen traffic accidents, several injuries, 1 fatality, and all stretching over less than 4 miles on I-95. And somehow, it got worse than that. 2 construction workers were working on a house at 2 Sebastian Court in Seminole Woods. The 2 men operating a concrete pouring truck belonging to Nomad LLC had just finished pouring the foundation on the house. The man operating the boom with a remote control accidentally directed the boom against the power line along Selma. Sheriff Rick Staley.
The power line was carrying about 13,000 volts. The crane acted as a conduit. Very tragic event.
The bodies will be turned over to the medical examiner, and OSHA will conduct its own investigation. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
Flagler County won't likely see too much of an impact from Hurricane Michael. The storm that's 600 miles south-southwest of Flagler hasn't spawned any tropical weather watches or warnings. But elsewhere in the state, it could be a different story. 26 counties have declared a state of emergency, most of them on the Gulf side of the state and the Panhandle. Flagler, though, could see some sustained tropical winds, but right now forecasters put that risk at just 5%. Nuisance flooding and an elevated risk of riptides are also a possibility with this storm. Even still, emergency officials are urging you to sign up for Alert Flagler so that you can stay informed of any significant weather changes or other emergencies in the county. You can customize your alerts to receive them either by email, text, or phone call. To do so, visit flaglercounty.org/alertflagler. And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.